what I did was, when I found out there would be 3 CDs, I figured that 2 of the CDs would be, stuff from the records, and the third CD would be the new things or the demos or the unheard things or the things that went to Europe. That is what is on the third CD. Basically, several things that I did in Phoenix, some demos, the movie songs that, went into movies, but you don't hear them. I mean, unless it's the Titanic, you don't really, you never hear the movie songs. You pull it off the record. You don't put it on your record to put it on a movie, and then you never hear it again. So there's several of those. Songs that went to Europe and went on B-sides that were absolutely never heard here.
You've really given people almost an entire album of unheard material here. This is not just a new song. There's 46 tracks in all. I know that because I listened to all 46 over the weekend. And I understand that the sequencing of the songs is very important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Tell me how you go about doing that.
Sequencing has always been important to me since I realized how important it is. I sequenced Rumors. Nobody really remembers that, but I did. That's what I said to Lindsay. I did. I know you don't remember this, but I did. What I try to do is make the beginnings and the ends, because being a radio man, it's like, you go into something, it's good. Then the way it comes out and goes into the next song might mean the difference between whether or not they listen to that next song or not. They might not even love the next song, but if the beginnings and the ends are good, they might put up with it, at least to give it a chance, right? So when I went to sequence this whole thing, I didn't want to do it chronologically. I wanted it to do it songs that sounded good next to each other, and it didn't matter if it was 1973 Buckingham Nicks or if it was 1997 Twister. So that's why on the beginning of the third disc it has a Twister going into Long Distance Winter. It's amazing, those 2 songs, to me, what an incredible detour I went around to get from singing fairly the same to singing fairly the same on a fairly similar song. So that's what I tried to do. I tried to make there be no time. This was like one long Enchanted recording session. When I got off the Fleetwood Mac tour, I came here on December 1st. And I put together the list of songs, pretty much. I went home to Phoenix around the 15th. And I started working on this thing with my brother. And the first day I was there, I said to him, "What do you think the title for this should be?" I mean, not expecting him to give me an answer, just play the devil's advocate and say anything, and then I'll have something to argue with you about. He said, "Wait a minute," and he ran out to his cottage, and he came in with a long oblong piece of white paper, and it had a white feather kind of stamped on it, and my signature at the bottom, and in block letters across the front it said Enchanted. And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, I think it's great. I think it's perfect." We didn't really it's his favorite song too. We didn't really even go into that. It was Enchanted before we even really, he didn't say after the song Enchanted, he just put Enchanted there.
By the way, speaking of this song, who was the idiot in the song that wanted you but didn't try?
I can't tell you that.
But there was a guy.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a na-na-na song,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's kind of a,
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully he's living in a trailer park with 12 kids now.
He's very sorry.
Yeah.
This was when I got the first dose of what it might be like, that Lindsay and I went to have our picture taken. And there was a lot of people at this, the photographer's house, which is a big 2-story fabulous house. And there was girls everywhere, leaning up against the wall, waiting to have their picture taken or something, And I was like, I am the artist, And I was horrified to somehow be thrown in. There I was having my picture taken, and not such a great picture either. And how I walked out of there going, I'm going to have to really take a deep breath and try to get through all this, because it's going to be hard for me to be, to have that sexist kind of thing thrown in. Right. And so, in After the Glitter Fades, the feeling remains even after the glitter fades. In Garbo, it says, you could be Garbo or even Marlena, you could be Marilyn, or you could basically get out now, because it is that dangerous. All those little things, that scared me about it. And when people ask me now, what was it that, that frightened you? That was the part of it that frightened me, of being pushed into that and not being able to be that artist that I wanted to be, I play the part, but then all of us do, and you do it so well, as I do it to you, in this town full of strangers, in this town full of fools. Venus doesn't sparkle when she stands next to you. When you're waltzing through stardom, you miss what you lose. That's the one I wrote after the photo session for the Buckingham Nicks cover.
Wow. You wrote that song?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. That was kind of prophetic, huh? Speaking of Buckingham Nicks, this is the first time that any material from Buckingham Nicks has ever been released on a CD.
Right.
Why is that? Why did that album never come out on a CD? It's got this great cult following.
Right. Because Lindsay didn't want to release it. He has now said yes. And now he wants to. So the only problem is that the Buckingham Nicks record doesn't have a record company or a deal or anything, because we bought it, 4 or 5 years after we joined Fleetwood Mac, and we just own it. It's just like our thing, ours. So he couldn't sell it without me, and I couldn't sell it without him. But now he says, great, he wants to put it out now. So we just have to, get the vehicle for it to go out.
I think a lot of people would like that, and,
yeah.
and they're going to love hearing this, in this package.
When we were going through all the pictures from the different photo sessions that we called and got all the photographers to dig back into their vaults, and come up with all the things that we did, there was just a strip that was like, on a page by itself, and it was just a strip with those 4 or 5 pictures of Jimmy and I at the board and talking back and forth about, recording, and he's trying to tell me stuff. And it's just a really funny thing where the expressions between us are hysterical, because we did fight a lot, and you can really see it in those pictures. You can see how, how it starts out, then it's a fight, and then it's okay.
Then it's okay, yeah. But she's trying to cajole him into getting her way.
Into getting my way. But so I did go back through all the pictures, and I wanted this to be, pictures that people hadn't seen. I didn't want this to be a bunch of stuff everybody already had. I wanted this to be the real thing, the real stuff. So there are pictures in it that, certainly aren't fashion pictures, and there are Polaroids, and there are just fun things. Jimmy was doing Tom Petty's album when I met Jimmy. I think Stop Dragging My Heart was one of Tom's songs. It was kind of like, when I said that when you've got the 12 songs of Belladonna, and 1 or 2 of them go for movie tracks. So what happened was that he had, probably a couple too many songs. And so Jimmy brought it to me and asked me if I would like to do it. And of course, being, an incredible Tom Petty fan, which is why I wanted to talk to Jimmy Iovine in the first place, was because he produced Tom Petty. I realized that it was going to be an important part of my life, that it was going to be a little bit of a career changer, that song. That's what I realized about that song.
How did you know that?
I don't know how I knew it. I think maybe the first time Tom and I sang it to each other, I knew it. I didn't get it from just hearing Tom sing it. I didn't really get how it applied to me that much. But when we sang it as a duet, then it just made all kinds of sense, and then I liked it.
You were talking about you spent 1997 touring with your old pals in Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
And I saw the Hollywood Bowl show. It was wonderful. It was great to see that combination of musicians back together again. Did you personally have as much fun as it appeared that you were, and did you guys leave as friends?
I absolutely had a great time, and we did leave as friends, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Everybody wants to hear that. So
yes,
that's
totally true.
Good. And everybody else is doing fine. Mick and Christine and John and Lindsay are all fine.
Everybody's good. We spent a lot of time together. We spent from last April 1st until the Grammys. Basically, that was our last thing. The Grammys was our last thing. So, and it was constant. And when you're on the road for 3 months and you do 45 shows and you're together all day long, and then you're together for 3 hours getting ready, and you're in a backstage dressing room for 3 hours before you ever go on stage. Every day, for every gig. So it's like we spent a lot of time together. We had a lot of fun. We got to be, we got all up on each other's lives and our families and everything. And, the shows were like, as close to the shows in the 70s that I remember that were absolutely the reason why I wanted to do this. that were so exciting and so electrically charged that there's just no even explaining it. It was sometimes Lindsay and I would stand at the bottom of the ramp and look at each other, and the applause would be so loud that it was almost frightening. We couldn't hear. I have an ear monitor. I could not hear through the ear monitor, so we just hand signal each other. Do you believe this? This is just so incredible, because it did have an absolute magic of the years gone by that, we wish we're still here in our own way.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I'm really tired of hearing about people talking about how hard it all is. Well, yeah, it's hard. Life's hard.
It's not that hard. It's hard, but it's not that hard. And for what you get back, it's not hard at all.
And I think that Fleetwood Mac holds such a dear place in so many people's hearts, and especially the songs that you guys have done. It's personal to people.
Yeah.
And so they want to hear that you weren't just going through the motions. Earlier this year, speaking of the band, you and the other members of Fleetwood Mac joined a very select group of people. A big smile coming to Stevie Nicks' face. You're going to live in history forever. You got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, lady. How does that make you feel?
It was incredible. This is what happened. I went there to do that. I got terrible stomach flu the day before on the plane going to New York. So I was kind of ill. This is not something I can cancel, right? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not going to cancel it. No. So I went, I sang my song. I got inducted. I went back up to my room. I didn't stay to see the whole thing because I was sick. So then the next night, somebody in New York, a friend of ours, had recorded it. So I sat by myself in my living room with, I think my brother was there and Karen, my assistant, and we watched it. And that's when it really hit me. And that's when I started to cry and had to call my mom and talk to her. But, so it's it was very, very special. And it was very special for it to happen with the Eagles and with Santana, who, all those many, many years ago, when Santana played the week before Woodstock, the movie was out, Robin, my friend, and I went into Monterey, Carmel, into the city with Greg Raleigh and Greg and Michael Shreve, right, from Santana, and shopped and had lunch. And never really to see them again, And then all those many years later, we would get inducted into the Hall of Fame together on the same night, I thought that was incredible. So it really did mean a lot to me. And the other thing that really killed me about that night was the Mamas and the Papas, was Michelle Phillips. She just made me totally cry because she's just so neat. And I had no idea everything that she had been through. I thought, I need to call this woman because she actually could hold up to my life, and it's just so incredible. So it was great.
That's something you ought to do someday. Just you and her ought to get together and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, because she really touched me. Yeah. I just was so touched by her.
That's interesting. Good. I'm glad to hear it, because you guys obviously deserved it, and I'm glad to hear it was touching for you. One other thing on that, this is a hell of a year for you guys. You got to perform live at the Grammys. Now, that couldn't have been any pressure, right? Performing in front of a house full of the best musicians on planet Earth in a live worldwide broadcast.
I can't even tell you. I started getting nervous. I woke up Monday morning. They were Wednesday. I woke up Monday. So nervous. Before I even knew what was going on, I was just horribly nervous. And I just got more nervous right up to the Grammys. So yeah, it was, they keep telling you this is going to go out over how many billions of people. So you're just freaked out completely because you know that. So it isn't just a performance for the people that, of course, are all the famous people in the world that you want to impress and you want to be great for. They're looking at you. And then there's the jillions that they keep telling you backstage that are going to be watching you. So it's so nerve-wracking. I can't even tell you. And of course, then, they give you 5 minutes, which is 5 minutes on the Grammys, and put 3 songs. Put 3 songs into 5 minutes, and that is not negotiable.
Really?
Not 5 minutes and 10 seconds. 5 minutes. Or we turn you off,
You just slide the pot
trying
down.
to make 3 Fleetwood Mac songs, which are all at least 15 minutes long, into 5 minutes and not make it come off stupid, and we're playing really fast. was like the most, I mean, it was like we were just so nerve-wracked over this whole thing, you know, to get it. We finally got it down. By Tuesday, we had it down to 5 minutes. It was like, don't anybody breathe, don't cough, don't do an extra turn, nothing. Just play. So, and it was good. It was good. I was very pleased.
Great. Yeah, that's always helpful when somebody's in your ear going, now listen, don't be nervous, but half of planet Earth.
17 million people are watching you.
You have a dark side to you.
I do have a dark side.
But it's, it's almost more sad. That it's not like a dark, evil side,
right.
But you do have a lot of sadness in you. Does the songwriting help that, or does the sadness help the songwriting?
I think the sadness helps the songwriting.
But it never relieves the sadness?
It does for a while until the next sadness comes along. If you're a writer, you're always looking for that. You're always looking for the circumstance that's going to inspire you, whether it's from sadness or not sadness, to write something, to write one line that inspires you, and from there go on into a whole story about it. I know it seems like that there's a lot of sadness in my songs, and I'm not really a sad person.
No, you're not.
I don't think I am. And so I don't know really where that comes from. That's why, as crazy as it may sound, sometimes I think some of these songs truly just come through me from somebody else or from some other spirit channeler or something, as crazy sounding as that, because they're so quick and I'm just scribbling faster than I can write, I have always vowed to never work to write a song. Do you know what I mean? If I write a couple of lines to a song that are really good and I can't get any further with it, I just quit and walk away. I don't sit and make myself write. I hear people all the time say, I've set up a writing appointment. I'm going to go over and write with this person. We're going to write, for 3 hours this afternoon. And it's like, I'm going, are you insane? Because I cannot even understand that. I haven't met that guy yet. I mean, at my age, we were just talking about this yesterday, me and a bunch of my friends. We haven't even met the kind of a guy who could come into this life with me. So I don't know what I would give up. Up until now, there's no way I would have given up my music for anybody, and didn't.
But wouldn't the guy not
he
want
wouldn't
you
want
to
me
give
to give
up?
up my music. Exactly.
Yeah. Why would he want you? He wouldn't want you then.
Right, and he wouldn't really want to change me that much because this is what I do and what I am,
Exactly. So, I mean, you're not really even looking for the guy that you don't want to do that.
No.
Because, yeah, exactly. That guy wouldn't want you to do that.
And when it says in I Sing for the Things, it says, you say I have everything, but I'm living on dreams and chains. Dreams and chains means like dreams of maybe it will happen and won't happen, and chains, the bad part. In other words, yes, I'm famous, yes, I'm successful, but this is also hard. That you say I have everything, but I don't have everything.
Right. Is that why you've always had friends around you? For example, upstairs right now is a friend of yours who is really not here in this particular situation helping you out. You're helping this friend out.
Right.
That she is not feeling well, and I know this is a longtime friend of yours, and you're taking care of her. As long as I've known you, you have been like a mini commune. There's always people around you and stuff. And does that help kind of fill the, what I'm, give you the sense of a home?
The thing is that in the first place, these days, there's a lot more older, slightly older women who are not married. If I didn't have these friends, would I live here in this house all by myself? That's what I would do. I would live here all by myself. Or I'd live here with a caretaker person that lived back in that little room. I don't want that.
No.
So in order to, I don't want to live all by myself. I'm too scared to live all by myself, That's why, basically.
But I mean, as long as I've known you, you've kind of liked... Some people like that. In other words, to always have people around them, and others are kind of like, that's... But,
the thing that when people think of, this entourage that I have and all these people and stuff, they don't really understand that, yes, in fact, there's like 3 or 4 people in this house, but we all stay very much to ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but entourage is the wrong word. These are friends.
But, right, these are good friends. But we all live very, Like she stays there and I stay over there and Liza stays in there. And we really, we kind of live our lives and we're all here for each other if we need. And there's people here late at night, so we're all here. We feel safe. It never appealed to me to live by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, no, I understand it. I think it's, I just always thought it was interesting. And it makes me feel good because
And of course, if I had married, this wouldn't be happening. There wouldn't be roommates and people, that wouldn't be. Right. But it didn't happen. So, this really it's the next best thing. At least it's a family. I love these people, They've kind of, been around since the 1970s, so they know everything that's happened. So I don't really have to tell them too much, So we have a great time. But, otherwise it would be just me and my lonely castle.
That's sad.
And that is sad.
That. Yeah, I don't want to. No.
I don't want to be there. The Highwaymen was when I was going out with Don Henley. And I was really aware of, Don and his friends in his band and how they kind of lived. And they were such outlaws, And I was totally, pretty knocked out as a woman by that because they were exciting and they were so much fun. And so the Highwaymen came, and only me. I wanted to be the Highwaywoman. I wanted to be the one woman that they'd all put up with. And that I could because I would put up with them, we would be able to be together.
Beautiful. Well, yeah. And ladies do love outlaws, don't they?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I don't know, because it never works out.
No.
An outlaw's never going to hang around. So, but it's just the whole romantic idea of it,
And so all of this crap that you women give us about, well, why aren't you more sensitive? Why don't you talk to us? Why don't you share your feelings with us? Why don't you blah, blah, blah? That's all a bunch of nonsense, isn't it?
Well,
isn't
no.
It, Stevie? When the rubber meets the road, that's a bunch of nonsense, isn't it?
When the rubber meets the road? Jim, I don't know. I don't think that's true. I think, yes, of course we love outlaw men. We love strong, fabulous men. But we want them to be a little bit sensitive. Otherwise, there's no reason to have them around. Then you guys should all just have boys' clubs.
Let's talk about, has anyone ever written anything for you? I would imagine that this song would have to generate a ton of fan mail from people who, well, I know you wrote this for me, Stevie, and I heard the message. And
Well, of course, except for the fact that I did, when I put out the greatest hits a couple years ago, the time space thing, I did tell what I had written. Has anyone ever written anything for you? So they do know. The fans actually know what it's about now, and now that's what they write me about. Is the real story.
Which is
that was a point in my life where I was, again, very bummed out with the road. And that was when I was going with Joe. And he drove me from Denver up to Boulder and told me the story about how his little girl had been killed in a car accident many, many, many years before, and showed me her little drinking fountain that they had built in the park for her. And it was so sad, and it just broke my heart. And I thought, I just don't have any problems at all. I have no problems. So that was, and I walked home, and I was so sad for Joe losing this little girl. And I don't think he's ever been the same since her death, And I walked right into my house, sat down at the Bosendorfer, and wrote that song, the whole thing.
Somehow that story, I missed that. I'm glad you told me that. I don't know why it passed me by.
It was his way of telling me, you have a pretty good life.
On May 27th, you're going to embark on a 40-city U.S. tour.
Yes.
Are you ready for the road again after spending all last year on the highway with Fleetwood Mac?
I am ready because I am making myself ready. We got off the road on December 1st, and we finished with Fleetwood Mac, at the Grammys a couple weeks ago. But I have really stayed up. I have been exercising and taking real good care of myself and doing a lot of stuff every day because I didn't want to go into shock after having 4 months off. So I've kind of kept up on the same momentum that I had with Fleetwood Mac so that I've never really lost that. Because I knew, December 1st, they said, we want you to do this box set and we want you to tour with it. So if Fleetwood isn't going out, then you are. So I knew immediately. So I just didn't let myself sink into that total vacation thing where it's really hard to come out of. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When I walked out to sing Landslide, it was just me and Lindsay. And I'm just there by myself, and he's really kind of behind me, and I'm just standing there, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing all these people that I know and all these people that I don't know, but I know they're famous. And I'm kind of scanning the whole audience quickly, and I'm going, oh my God. I kind of take a deep breath and, ask God to be with me through this and start to sing. And I saw the audience just go with me. And totally silent. A pin could have dropped. And that's when I feel like I'm doing the right thing. That's when I feel like what I picked, through the good and the bad, everything, is the right thing. And that I should be there singing for those people. I really do have a belief that I'm here to sing for people and make them happy. So for that minute and a half, it seemed, the song got started and I got comfortable. Then for that moment in time, those are absolutely the moments that I live for, that make everything else worth it. I decided to do a demo of Rhiannon for this box set because of a couple different reasons. First of all, I've played this song similar to that a million times. It has been recorded a million times in different studios and at my houses, and we really tried to find a really good version of the piano demo of Rhiannon, and I couldn't find anything that I thought was good enough quality. So I was determined to redo it, to just go and do it now like I would have done it then, or like I've always done it. And I went in about 2 months ago, maybe it wasn't even 2 months ago, and spent a couple hours, tried to record it. I had a bad cold, and the pedal on the piano was broken. So I actually got a good version of it. It's not the one that's on the record, but it was good. I sounded like I had a cold. But it was really good. So we really went back and forth about it. Then I had to get on a plane and go and do the Brits in England. So we did that, and I came back, and everybody says, if you want to do this, you got to do it now. And I said, this record is not going out without the right Rhiannon on it, because I think in the long run, this could be the most important song on this whole 3 CDs. So it's not going out without this song. So I went right in when I got back from there and just played it twice, and it's the second time.
It's very like you to take such care with it, take such care with the pictures, making sure the lyrics are in there, which I thank you for, because nobody does that anymore.
People didn't want me to put those lyrics on because it took up way too much room. And I said, are you insane? I'm not going to put lyrics on this and show all these people all these songs that they haven't heard or that they're not familiar with, and they're not going to be able to lay on the floor and read the lyrics along. Wow. I'm not going to do that. And my brother Chris was the art director, so we could work on it at home. We did this all at home. And then in the very last parts of it, we went to Atlantic, and they, did all the big stuff that you have to do if, you have the better stuff. So, but we took it all to them, and I hope everybody likes it, Jim. I really did try to make this a really nice thing.
Well, you did. You did good.
Well, thank you.